Hey there, everyone. As always, I hope you're having an amazing day so far today. And today I wanted to share with you my opinions on the animal production industry, factory farming, and the overall consequences of all this. So, first off, what you need to understand is that factory farming wouldn't even be a thing if it weren't for such a large demand for this product, okay? So, there's so much demand, they had to come up with the supply from somewhere because they need to make their money. So every animal can't just be on a natural pasture, just grazing on grass and cage free like they used to be. They had to push them closer and closer together and closer together so that they can all produce the meat that is demanded by the public. So it's a basic meat supply and demand issue. If the demand were to completely go away, we wouldn't have this problem. Okay, so you ask yourself, what problem do we have? Why is this a problem? I mean, I get that some people call it unethical and some people say it's bad for your health, but the real problem with all this is the environmental impact and how many antibiotics we're pumping into these animals. Okay, so did you know that over 70% of the antibiotics produced in the United States is fed to animals in factory farms, not to humans? That's because their lives are so stressful and their impact of injury or their chances of injury in such close quarters is so great that we have to just pump them full of antibiotics in order to get them to market. Otherwise, they would die. And the problem with this is it breeds superbugs. A superbug is a bacteria that is resistant to antibiotics. And as a globe, this is a huge problem. As a society, this is a problem because imagine if you could treat a staph infection with antibiotic, that's great. But imagine when that staph infection is resistant to antibiotics. When these antibiotics start working, antibiotics was one of the greatest miracles of modern medicine that we've ever experienced. People used to die left and right from simple bacterial infections. You couldn't have surgeries like we do now with like bypass surgeries and stuff for your heart without antibiotics. And if we get superbugs that are resistant to antibiotics, this is all going to go to shit. And we're going to live in a very different world. And we're causing our own problem by putting these animals so close together that the bacteria, antibiotic resistant bacteria is forming. And another big issue with this is the overall climate impact. There's such a huge impact on the climate from these animals that it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I personally used to be vegan back in the day, and the thing that first got me to become a vegan was not the health impact or the ethical impact. It was actually the impact on the planet. I watched a documentary called Cowspiracy. It's like conspiracy, but with a cowspiracy. And it really goes through the environmental impact of the meat industry and how a lot of people just want to push it under the rug and hide this fact. But the fact is that the meat industry is causing a huge impact to our environment. So one of the best things you can actually do to help the environment is to just simply stop eating meat. And right now, I'm not a vegan, and I haven't been for about a year because it's hard. It's frankly hard. Eating meat is easy. I mean, you go and get yourself some buns, you go and get yourself some $3 ground beef, and you make some burgers. It's easy, guys. I mean, I understand it's hard to be vegan. So I'm not promoting that every single person and their brother becomes a vegan, okay? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that we could just overall reduce our demand for meat. That would go so far to helping this problem. And there's already multiple companies trying to do this to make food that tastes like meat that is based off of plants, or make food that is meat based off of cellular technology, to where they take individual stem cells and they grow it into something like chicken nugget or lab grown meat rather than factory farms meat. And this is something that is very interesting because, KFC recently had a fully vegan burger or sandwich. It's not a burger, it's a sandwich out in England, the United Kingdom. And it sold so much that it was just incredible. Within, I think, 4 weeks or something, they were completely out, and they've had more demand for this product than of any other product launch of KFC's history. And we really, really need to get to a point where people are not focused so much on the meat, and they need to start focusing more on how they can reduce their meat intake and help better society. Because if we get to the point where superbugs are fucking up our health and to where they're killing lots and lots of people, that's not okay. That's not good. That's not going to be good, okay? And the climate impact is horrible for me. It's absolutely horrible. And what people need to realize is that you don't have to go fully vegan overnight. You can just take one of your meals out of the day and just eliminate the meat. So you don't have to have meat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Just have meat during dinner. Just have meat maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Instead of putting it as the center front of every single meal, if we could just get to the point where our meals are more so based around fruits, vegetables, legumes, and grains, and instead of meat, to where the meat is the center point of the meal, we could go a long way towards helping fix this climate problem, and we could go a long way to help fixing the health of our society, okay? Not to mention the ethics behind killing and slaughtering an animal that does not want to die, that can feel pain and pleasure, and instead we just take its life away and put it on the kitchen table. Okay, so there's the ethics, there's the health impacts, but what are really important is the climate impacts, because we need to do something to help fix this climate. And one of the best things we can do is to reduce our meat intake. And the same thing is true of Qdoba in America. Qdoba in America recently put out their Impossible meat. Their Impossible meat is now one of their options. It costs a little more than their other options on the menu. But I just recently went to a Qdoba in Indianapolis, Indiana, and they said they're selling out tons of that stuff. I looked up into some research, and there's tons and tons of this stuff being sold. So it's not like there's not a demand for this product. Like you look at Beyond Meat with their IPO, there is a demand for this product. There's hype about plant-based proteins. People just need to take the next step and not just worry about plant-based proteins, but worry about how you can just overall reduce your meat demand. And every individual can make a difference by just taking one meal out of your week and having it meat-free. Take 2 meals meat-free. 4 meals meat-free. Work your way up. You don't have to go vegan overnight, guys. You don't have to be a vegetarian tomorrow. I'm not saying that. I'm saying just slowly reduce your demand for this product, and it will have huge impacts, because the globe is actually going more towards an American model of, like in India and in China, they're having more and more McDonald's and KFCs and all these things that just have such a high demand for meat. If we could take every McDouble and turn it into an Impossible Burger Double, it would be amazing for the planet, for our health, and it would help to fight superbugs. And I am super pissed off about this, because I don't want to be in a place where I can get a staph infection, and the staph infection goes ahead and kills me because we can't even treat it with an antibiotic. That would be some bullshit, and I don't want that to be the case. So anyway, I'm starting to draw on a little, and I don't want this video to be 20 minutes long. So leave any comments and questions and concerns you have down below. I would really appreciate if you guys left some comments and questions down below. And if you enjoyed my content, please hit the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. It helps get my video out to more people. And please subscribe if you haven't already. I would really appreciate that too. And please reduce your meat demand. I would really appreciate that. From a heartfelt perspective, this is my heart over here. From a heartfelt perspective, I would really appreciate that. And until next time, peace.